Domestic violence affects all age, origin, religion, every country. Today we are going to examine domestic violence. And with me is Mr. Henry and my panel. And Mr. Henry will be doing a relaxation technique to show you what can be done in order to do domestic violence. Good afternoon, Mr. Henry.
Good afternoon, Mr. Wille.
Thank you very much. That's it. You can come off of the stage. You take. Domestic violence is the willful intimidation, physical assault, battery, sexual assault, and other abusive behavior as part of a systematic pattern of power and control perpetrated by one intimate partner against another. And it includes things like physical violence, sexual violence, threats, and emotional abuse. Today, as we examine this topic, we have a number of guests here. With me on my left, immediate left, is Laverne Gordon of Love Life Now, Inc. Good evening.
Good morning.
Right.
Don't rush today. We're just starting it.
Yes, well, we just started the day. Right. I'm very much interested in your organization.
Yeah.
So I know you are involved with domestic violence. Could you just point?
Sure. So our organization is focused on awareness throughout the year and promoting this issue. as much as possible. One of the things that we focus on is sort of raising awareness just throughout the community about and how people can become involved in becoming a solution against this issue. Too often, people are finding out about shelters when they get to a police station or a hospital, and that's one of the things that we try to gear towards is having folks understand what resources are available to them, and how these resources, the people that work at these agencies, can become more engaged with the communities that they serve. And so that's what we focus on is year-round awareness. We're not an agency, we're not a shelter, but we simply point folks in the right direction for help.
And I think later on we're going to go into some of the
initiatives,
different activities that you do.
Which is the other half of what we
because
do. Yeah.
If the audience look and see my 2 shoes on there.
Yes. You're well
the
prepared.
heel-a-thon,
the annual heel-a-thon.
And that is in the 2nd week of June each year.
Correct.
Right.
Yes.
So we want everybody to start marking their calendar.
Yes,
Right.
exactly. So one of the things, as you mentioned, the other half of what we do is put on initiatives throughout the year that get people out and about talking about this issue. And one of them, one of my favorites, is the heel-a-thon, where folks come out.
Are we going to talk
Yeah,
about
we're
that?
going to come out.
But
Yeah,
hold on. I want to move over to Miss Toy. I'm going to call it by first name because I'm from English people. You know, I'm the English background, so I hope you don't mind the first name. Yeah, and I know you have a road march in June.
Okay, so it's the Roxbury Unity Parade, and it's in July on the 22nd.
Right.
Yep.
Tell us more about that march.
Okay, so
Or you want us to just go over to Miss
Brandy?
Brandy.
Yes. So thank you. Good morning. So what you were asking, Toy, was about the Roxbury Unity Parade.
Right.
And that is going to be Sunday, July 22nd, 2018. The pre-ceremonies, events, concerts starts at 10 a.m. The actual walk parade starts at 1, and it concludes at 4. We'll start at the Madison High School on Malcolm and walk to the Shelburne Community Center at the intersection of Washington and Martin.
And I see you have your sign, but that's for Dee-Dee's Cry, and it says suicide prevention and family support. So I have a nice family here, and what better person to answer about family but the pastor?
Yes.
And I want to introduce yourself, Pastor.
Well, I'm Osida Hiabi. Basically, I'm the lead pastor of World Royal City Ministries. We are based in Hyde Park, basically. And just like William said, we're here for dealing with domestic violence. And one of the key things I really want to bring out is that just recently we've been talking about anxiety and depression.
Right,
And
that's in my 6th section. I want to wait and hold a thought, right? Because right now we're just introducing ourselves to get to know each other. And if we can go back again to the lovely lady here who have the advocacy, and she was talking about heel-a-thon. So she can tell us more about that on the 2nd week of June.
Sure. So the heel-a-thon is focused on getting folks out. And the premise behind it is walk a mile in my shoes, right? Everybody, for the most part, shows up in a pair of heels. We're not going to look at your wedges.
I'm going to fall down. And my station manager asked me, are you going to put on heels?
Yeah.
And I spent about 4 hours yesterday trying to find a shoe.
A suitable pair.
Right. It's not the heels. I didn't even know that these are not heels.
Right. But they work. They work.
They work.
So we tell folks that, that heels are not mandatory to participate in this walk. The idea, again, is to walk a mile in my shoes. Imagine someone fleeing abuse, right, and ending up in a shelter. And, just taking a walk about a mile and your feet giving you the most amount of pain afterwards, because I don't care what heel it is and how comfy it is, you're going to feel some pain afterwards, right? And so the idea is to walk a mile in my shoes. We walk a mile, we raise awareness, and post healing, which is what we call it, not walking, healing. We do raise funds for a domestic violence agency. This year, that shelter and / agency is Respond Inc. out of Somerville. And unfortunately, we are walking in memory again of someone. This time it is Joan Demio. Joan Demio was originally from Somerville, which sort of ties this whole thing together. Joan Damier was originally from Somerville, but lived in Florida, unfortunately with her abuser, and was bludgeoned to death back in April, so very recently.
Can I tell you something? When I started this program, I wanted another crew member who couldn't come because she has a family member
who he lost to DV.
Domestic violence. And that's why I feel this is a befitting topic to take up.
Absolutely,
right?
absolutely.
And we have heard about two persons who involved in suicide that
past week,
right?
yeah.
And I like Dee-Dee's Cry because I took Dee-Dee to kind of, introduce both the march and also the suicide prevention. So you can tell us more about your march this June.
Okay, so it's July.
Oh, July.
Yes.
Oh, so I have more time.
It is
Yes.
July. Yes. I like for Brandy to talk about the parade because she's
Yeah.
Director of Operations.
Yeah, but you can talk about Dee-Dee's Cry.
Yeah, and I'll talk
Dee-Dee's
about Dee-Dee's Cry.
That's why I want you.
Because you said
Yeah.
the parade. Okay, so Dee-Dee's Cry. Dee-Dee's Cry is named after my sister, Dee-Dee, who died from suicide when she was 23. So the organization, I came up with it last year. She would have been 55 if she had lived in September. And at that time, I was looking for resources for a friend of mine whose brother had recently